Welcome to
Hello. How are you doing,
Battlefield.
Catherine?
Wonderful, Tim. Welcome, welcome.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you for inviting me.
Of course, of
Yeah,
course.
I want everybody to see my sa I don't know what to call it, but I got a bunch of these. I was hoping I was gonna I just got back. You know about my trip, and so I was given three different sashes on my trip, or whatever you want to call this.
Yes.
But everywhere I landed, this specifically, when I was on my trip, my host would give me a different kind of a shaw, or this one specifically. I was in the foothills of the Himalayas, and they gave me this, and
Wow.
it's just so they're all so different. They each one of them had so much personality. It was so different from who gave it to me. And so the other two, though, they're not available right now. But I was going to wear, I'm going to do this in the future sometime. I'm going to wear all three of them under each
Aw.
other. And then I'm going to take one off at a time and tell a story. So
Oh, that sounds
this one
lovely.
in
Yes.
particular is pretty incredible. So I stayed with the Nagarong Zaga tribe in the foothills of the Himalayas. And I stayed with the tribal chief's son. His name's Paul. But when he met me at the airport, he gave this to me, and I was invited to speak at a kind of like a town hall type meeting. It was a town hall meeting, but and so I was asked to speak, and a lady came up to me. She said, "Oh, are you Oak Cree?" And I'm like, "Oak Cree? What does that mean?" She goes, "Are you part of the Oak Cree tribe?"
Oh,
And
wow.
I'm like, I'm from America. You know, I look so different from these. I couldn't even imagine that she would even think that or ask that. But just because I was wearing this, she goes, "Oh, those are Okri. That's an Okri. Those symbols. You're wearing a sash from the Okri tribe. So are you Okri?" And she's like, but she was in all serious, like, "How are you related to the Okris? How did this?" I'm like, "No, Paul just gave this to me at the airport. I just landed here, just literally just hours before." And so, anyway, so I was just so amazed that just wearing this, they thought, they actually thought, "Oh, Tim, you must be part of the Okri tribe."
It's got me thinking that if he bestowed that upon you,
Yes.
did he not in some way decree that you were?
I didn't think about that, but yeah, I guess you're right. I think you maybe are right. You're well. Yeah, I stayed in his home and I was a guest there for the week. And so, yes, I guess in a way you're onto something. I didn't think about it like that.
An honorary member? I mean,
I know exactly. Yes,
he just right off the bat was like, you're a member of
exactly.
our,
Exactly.
that is
Exactly.
beautiful. Wow, what
And
an honor.
the
Yeah.
funny thing, I just got this back from the dry cleaner. So, what happened was, okay, so all our meal, I mean, every night, the only heat was a fire. So we would sit around a fire there in the mountains. I mean, there's no central air conditioning or central heat. So either we'd build a fire at night. And so this, along with my other clothes that I wore there, were just smoke. I mean, like, I've
Smoky.
been smoky, like I've been camping, for a week. And so immediately, when I get back, I took it to the dry cleaners, but it's really cool. I wore it the entire time. Every waking hour, I would just put this on. And so trying to,
Maybe towards, there you
yeah, there
go.
we go. So
Wow.
it's really cool. It's all hand done. And
Wow.
and the other ones are they're so different. So I visited one of the largest rice mills in India,
Mm-hmm.
and it's a family-run business. And so they gave me one as well.
Wow.
But the one they gave me, it's so different because you just think about it. Just think about if you went to New York and you were given a gift from let's just say you visited America and you're going to visit three companies.
Yep.
And so one is in New York, say at the Wall Street Stock Exchange, and then
Sure.
one is in Missouri, and then say another one's in Florida at the beach, it's like a surf company.
Right.
So you can imagine they're going to all look different. And so the one that I received from the largest rice mill has gold throughout the entire sash. or shawl or whatever you want to call it, but it's gold and it just is so obvious. It's like, when it goes in the sun, it shimmers. It's so bright. And I want to show it. I'll show it to you. I'll share it with you.
I'm
Um,
excited.
I'll share it with you. But it's so obvious that it's a like a very successful business gave this to me. And then I was in Calcutta, so my second workshop was in Calcutta, India, and
Mhm.
so it was made from like the exact opposite. It was made from patchwork, so like patchwork quilt, and
Sure.
so each piece was all patchwork. So it was just a patchwork quilt. And so it was
Yeah,
just
that's nice.
amazing the
That's nice.
personality of all three. They're all three works of art from my standpoint. It's just amazing. And I've never, for an American business guy to be given stuff like this, it's just very odd. It was a first in my life, and it was very unusual, and it's exciting and fun, but it was just so odd. And not only to get one, because the first one happened there at the plant. But then everywhere I go, they did that. They would give me these shawls, and so I have a collection of three. I'm wondering how to present them and what to do with them, and so we're working on thinking about how to share how to be able to see them all the time, and so
You could put them in like a shadow box, um,
yes,
Staples
yeah,
or something like that.
yeah,
Staples, I'm sorry. Like
yeah. The
Mike,
ones,
you could make custom, they'll make a custom shadow box for you and you can
yeah.
put it in and have
I
them up on
just
your wall protected.
Yeah, I don't like those thick shadow box. I just have this
No, it
image
doesn't
of these.
have to be.
I
They
don't
can
want it to
make
be
it,
thick. Yeah,
no, they can make it however you want.
yeah,
I've had
and
some
just
made.
yeah, and just really, I just want to be really tight. But they're beautiful. They're all
You could
beautiful
just
and
put
they're
it in
so
a
special.
frame.
Yeah,
You could just
yeah,
put it in a
that's
frame, have
possibly.
a
Yeah,
custom frame or something, but
yeah,
and then put them up like that. Who
yep,
knows? You'll figure it out. Part of me was
right,
like, when I first saw them, I'm like, those would make kind of a cool quilt.
yep,
You could
yep.
make
But
it,
I would be
you wouldn't want it,
it possibly. Yeah, it would be
would,
tough for me to.
yeah.
Yeah,
So
if you put it, that would be a beautiful quilt as an accent. Like make the quilt and have that right in the center. But I
yeah,
still would be. And they're so valuable to me. I would not
right.
like them. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah. Me personally, I wouldn't want to sew them or whatever, and I would want to probably maintain the integrity and the intent and the essence of them possibly separately. But I've done a few things with the shadow boxes type of thing, but they don't have to be thick. And then you can
yes.
put like a label in there if you want to, or a picture in there with it, but you could just make a really long one. Oh,
And
yes.
then this
Yes.
is like when I visit them. Also, they gave me this trophy for visiting them. And then this is from the plant, the rice facility. And then they also everyone, specifically in India, everyone was
Yeah.
giving me flowers, and so it's so funny. Um, I noticed on my trip. So this trip, it was 3 months in
Yeah.
Asia.
Tell me why we went on this trip. Like
Yeah,
what,
so I'll just lay out. Yeah, I'll just share with you.
yeah,
So
let's,
I worked for I had lots of work projects in Asia, and so it turned into a 3 month. Instead of coming home and going back, I just went to Asia, stayed, and did all the work there.
so when
So
you said you had a lot of work things, like what does that mean? You had a lot of work things in Asia. Yeah. What
Okay.
does that
Okay.
mean?
So, yep, I'll answer that. I'll answer that. But
Perfect.
let me first share where we went. And
Okay.
so started in, Korea briefly, and then, Thailand, and then Cambodia, and then, Laos, and then, Kuala Lumpur, Malaysia. I think I'm getting I know I was in Kuala Lumpur because of the Petronas Towers, but I'm pretty sure it's Malaysia. I keep getting confused with Indonesia, but it's Malaysia. So then Malaysia, and then back to Thailand, and then India. I did workshops in um, Hyderabad, which is one of the economic business capitals, tech capital of India. Then I went to Calcutta for another workshop, and then I went to, stayed with the tribes in the foothills of the Himalayas in Manipur, India. The thing about that area, also it was under martial law at the time, and so literally there were military soldiers, machine guns every kilometer of all the roads, and then I went outside the perimeter of the check. There was a checkpoints, and then I went outside, and then I went up into the mountains, and I stayed with the Nagarong tribe, Zaga tribe up there, and that was just an incredible event. And then back to Thailand, and then back. Let's see, were there any other countries? I think that's pretty well it. And then back home, and so that was the trip in 90 days, and I was able to swim most of the time. What I wanted to share, you asked about work, and so what was the work? So I was leading workshops, and so I was just sharing specifically working in the U.S. market, how to be thinking about how to import products from their country into the United States. The United States, a lot of people may not understand this. There's only 300 million people in the United States. There's, roughly 7 billion people in the world, but half of the food purchased in the world is purchased in the United States. So the dollar value, the financial value, half the world's food purchases, you look at the dollars purchased, is in the United States.
Wow.
Yep. So a lot of people they think, oh, it's just another country. I'm going to add. No, it's half the world's half the world's dollar value of food is the U.S. market. So anyway, there's many people are interested. If you know about the market, many people are interested in exporting to the United States. And so that's what I was sharing. What is it you need to do to export to the United States? How can I be successful in the U.S. market? How can we be successful taking our food and going there? And so that's what I was doing in India in the workshops. Now, when I was in the Himalayas, I was teaching workshops on specifically on um, we were doing food, we were talking food, but it was more we want to expand tourism in that area, and so it was hospitality and success and things that work there. When I was in Calcutta, we were really just going over processes and the whole course, everything that we were doing was checklist. All it was checklist. And so we were just going through checklists for food businesses, how to think about processes, how to be able to, not have ever, there's so many things are done from a standpoint of being an artisan. So it's very difficult. If you have everyone a chef in your business, if you only have chefs in your business, it's very difficult to scale that business quickly. It's very difficult to do lots of things because you have to train people for years to be a chef. And so if everyone is at that level and you don't have jobs for people to entry level, there's not work for them to do. And so without the checklist, without defining roles and really having introductory jobs, you're unable to bring in lots of folks and help them go into the system. And so that was hampering growth. And so I just received the exciting thing is, so this particular group, they do events and festivals and for food products at festivals. And so
In
because
Calcutta?
in Calcutta, India.
Okay. Yeah.
So they've been operating for 8 years. And so they've never been able to do one festival per day because of they have all these very highly trained people that have to be at each event. And so and they just sent an email. And so I gave that was around January 12th. I think we did the workshop. I can go back and check, but it was about the second week, third week in January. And so here we are, we're in March. They just sent me a note a few days ago and they just did 3 festivals in one day. First time they've ever been able to do that.
Wow. So
And because of the processes. So that's a 300% expansion in the amount of people they can impact in the service that they provide.
So what you do is you if I can get this right. So basically you ended up taking this trip that lasted 90 days to three different areas specifically to show them how to be better at like some kind of a distribution or some kind of an increase, and
Yes.
because your company helps people to do that to
Yeah, so yeah, just yeah. So it's not easy. Okay, so I mean, if we yeah, but that's roughly it. Yeah, that's roughly it. It's just to help them to be more effective, help them to be
okay,
more effective and successful. If you go back, I've been doing this for almost 40 years, and so I began loading. I share this all the time. I began loading food trucks and then I moved into sales and managers roles. But it was I don't say it's very easy, but I was very effective at doubling my business every year. So I worked for a company as an employee, early on. So for 10 years, I worked with multinationals. And so I was I wanted to make my numbers. And so it was very simple years in a row. I grew at 100% first year. The second year, with that 100%, I was able to compound that and grow that by 100%. After that, I was able to grow the next year 100%, another 100%. But the way I did that was well, just knew that I wanted to grow the business. That was my goal, was to be very effective. And so I would think about what do I need to do to grow the business? I wouldn't think about what was politically smart. I
right.
wouldn't be, I would not, it didn't matter to me. I wanted to be the best. I didn't care if I didn't care about anything. I prioritized growth and success, numbers and improving my numbers over almost everything. And and so that's what I did. And so I would figure out ways to do things. I would figure out new ways, new ideas. I would, I would create new opportunities. And so that's what I did. So I learned how to
You've
do
been
that. I
you've
did,
been doing that your whole like you've been doing
right,
that for some time, and then you
right.
decide to start your own company and
Yeah, so it's only natural. Yeah, I mean it's only natural. I mean, particularly when you do things like that, I would get into trouble. You get into trouble doing things, being because you don't just you have to I'd say break rules, but in a way I was breaking rules. For instance, I opened Saudi Arabia. So I managed the southeastern United States for on grocery, and then I said, "Oh, I can sell because Jacksonville, Florida, the port was there. I could load my product in Jacksonville and ship it to Saudi Arabia, and I still get credit for it." And those were the kinds of things I would do. And then I'd end up getting in some trouble. Like, Tim, do you know? I can remember the phone call, and I didn't do it smart. Looking back at it, as far as I did it smart on my goals, but I didn't let my boss know about it. I just did it, and then it came back. Like a year or two later, it's like, Tim, what do you know about? Do you know anything about Saudi Arabia? I'm like, yes, I'm selling. They go, Tim, that's not your area. What are you doing selling in Saudi Arabia? And so anyway, so I ended up losing that business, and it had to go. But those are the kind of things I would do.
what is your website?
TimForrest.com.
And is it with one R or two R's?
Two R's, TimForrest.com.
And then
And so, yeah, talking about business. So I worked for 10 years with the multinationals and being very successful. I had a lot of fun. I ended up managing NASCAR, the Butterfinger NASCAR race car. I managed, I worked with Major League Sports, worked with distributors, just did all sorts of neat, fun things, sold products into McDonald's and worked with all the major retailers and food service. Food service, McDonald's is food service, theme parks. So Disney, get to work with Disney. My oldest daughter grew up. We didn't live in Florida at the time, but they grew up with season passes going to Disney because we were here so much with my work, and I just did all kinds of stuff. So then in '97, I had the opportunity. It really was it makes sense that it happened. My dad owned a business. It's so odd because the way I started my business was the exact same way my dad started his business. But I was actually interviewing for a job, and so the guy says, "Tim, well, we don't have a job, but if you can do the things you say you can do." we'll just pay you as a consultant, and we'll
Nice.
just yeah. So I'm like, oh, okay, okay, great. So I can do
Mhm.
that. And so it took a while to make everything happen, but we had a massive success. And so I can remember it was I didn't get my first check. It was a while because I was getting a paycheck, and then so I got my first consultant check, and I needed to deposit. I needed the money, and so I needed to deposit in the bank, and I went to my bank to go deposit it, and Tim Forrest Consulting, Forrest Company, went to go deposit it, wrote it on there, gave him a deposit slip to put in my checking account, and the bank teller looked at me and said, like, "Are you nuts? You can't." You can't put a business check in your personal checking account. I said, well, it has my name on it. She
Right.
goes, no, no, no. You have to start a business checking account to do that. I'm like, oh, really? What do I need? And so she gave me this little checklist, and then I just had to go. It was very easy for me to get it done. And the following day, I had done everything that was on the checklist, and then she opened a business account for me the next day, and then I created my business and deposited the check. Did that. It was 6 months later before I even had business cards, but that's the way I started Tim Forrest Consulting. That was in October of 1997. We just had our 27th anniversary. You know, our clients have it's been crazy. Our clients have grown by over $1 billion in sales. Just one product that I created with my clients, it did over $100 million in sales. And so it's just an amazing thing, all from loading food trucks.
Wow. So basically your roots were, or where you started was loading food trucks, but then the journey led you to becoming a consultant and now,
Yes,
yeah, helping people to get $100 million, right? And now you've
right.
taken that and gone further and been like, well, actually, there's a whole world out there. And
Yeah, well, I didn't go further. I just did the same thing I've been doing. And so a friend of mine said, Tim, in 2015, can you help us? We want to open a vocational food school, catering school. And this was in Calcutta, India. And so
okay.
I'm like, sure, I didn't know how to do it, but I'm happy to help my friend. And so his name's Amlin Ganguly. And so I said, Amlin, I'd be happy to help you do this. And so I said, well, what do we need? And so then I started working out on what was needed, and then we created the school. And so it's been very successful. And here we are, 2025. It's been almost 10 years since we started the school. Some of the things that I'm proud of, well, one, the number of students that have actually gone through the school and been able to get jobs in the food industry and be successful. But we ended up getting the canteen at the U.S. Embassy in Calcutta, India. The kids were running that, and that was money from that was helping fund the school. And so that was just kind of an amazing from an idea to creation to being out there in the world. And then some different folks found out what I'd done and they asked me, "Hey, would you help us do this?" In particular, in Tangerang, Indonesia, the students, they weren't students, but the kids were in a refugee camp from Afghanistan. And because of all the Taliban, what was happening in Afghanistan, they had fled, and I guess the UN as refugees, they were taken to Tangerang, Indonesia, but they couldn't go to Indonesian schools because they weren't Indonesian citizens. So they were just sitting in a refugee camp doing nothing. And so Ali asked me if I would help him, that he wanted a school. And I was like, okay, well, what do we need? And it took 9 months, and then we had a school. The school was so successful that the following year we had to get a larger school and change the location. And so that's what happened there. And then someone heard about my friend Mugisha heard about what I was doing and said, Tim, would you help us here in Uganda, Africa? And I'm like, no, I can't help you. I'm busy doing all these other things. I can remember. I want to tell you about Mugisha. Mugisha is unbelievable, but I'm like, Mugisha, I'm too busy. I've got to take care of my business. I'm, building this other school. Also, I wasn't motivated really to work in Africa. My goal was to assist Amlin really and what his needs were, and so I was really focused on that. Even Tangerang, Indonesia was not my idea. I didn't. I always think I want to support Amlin because I'm so just taken with what he does. So anyway, I said, I'll tell you what, Mugisha, instead of me saying no right now, I would like for you to write me a, and I wasn't sure. I didn't even know him.
Right, right.
So I didn't know Mugisha. I didn't know anything about him. So I said, Mugisha, here's what I want you to do. Write every Friday. I need you to write me a letter. And so here's what I'll do. I'll make a decision if I'll help you in 12 weeks. And
Interesting.
so for, yes, so for me to help you, I need you to write me a letter every Friday and let me know what you did the past week, what you're going to do. Oh my gosh, this is so incredible. So then I get the second letter, and I'm just like blown away with the amount of work he's doing, the things that are happening, everything that's going on. And I'm checking my, I wanted to check something. Okay, so my internet. So
Yeah,
I
the
just like,
internet
so
was a little splotchy. You froze during your
yeah,
when you talked about your first, you got the first letter, and that's okay. So can you talk about the
yeah.
first, we'll pick up there. What was the first letter? Because all I heard was, oh my gosh. So you got the first letter and you were like, oh my gosh. And then
Yeah, so I got the first letter. And so I was like so taken with the amount of work that they're doing, the amount of impact he's having, everything that was going on and the problems he was facing and how he was working through them. Then I got the
wow.
second, then I
Okay.
got the second letter. And it was just unbelievable, everything. Then I got the third letter and I'm like, oh my gosh, he's so, I just was just so impressed with everything that was going on. And then by about the fourth, I already knew what I was going to say. So finally, around the fourth letter, I was
Mm-hmm.
like, Mugisha, don't send me any more letters. Yes, I'll help you. And
Aw.
so I had to help out. And so to tell you about Mugisha, so he was really having a big impact in Uganda, Africa, and he was doing a great, great job. And he was the proctor of a school, and they'd had a flood that came in and just totally wiped out the school, this particular school building. And so, we're going to help build a new school building. And so, but Mogisha is so incredible. So Mogisha is from Sierra Leone. So this is, we're talking about Uganda. And so this is, so I found this out afterwards. I didn't know this when I first started, but it made so much sense. So Mugisha is from Sierra Leone. And he's a Francophile. And what I mean is he speaks French. So Sierra Leone's French, Uganda is English.
Okay.
So there was civil war there, and they started. I mean, not to go. I mean, I can share with you the story, but basically they started killing all. They started killing everyone in his village, and so he was able to escape. He ran to the grass behind the grass field plains behind his village, and they stayed there. They didn't know what to do. Then he's like, they decided to run and just they need to leave because it was so bad. So he ran, for a long, long, long time and then walked to Uganda from Sierra Leone with nothing, absolutely no money, nothing at all. Got to Uganda, and he did not speak English, and so he's a kid, in his teens, and so he's trying to figure out what to do. So he's trying to find someone that will teach him English. So he can't go to school there either. He's a refugee. Same story. He's a refugee. Can't go to the local school and learn English. So he ends up finding a tutor that needs a school. So he physically creates mud bricks. He gets some street kids to help him. And for 4 months, the deal he made with the tutor, he had no money. For 4 months, he made bricks and he built a schoolhouse for the tutor that didn't have one. Then, once it was built, the tutor agreed to teach him English and he learned English. 4 months of building the schoolhouse, then he learns to speak English.
Wow. 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 I would love to talk to Mugisha.
I know. He was so
Yeah.
incredible. So so then we started working, and then we were a group of people and an architect. His name is Jan. He's from the UK. He's not originally from the UK. He lives in the UK, and he teaches university. He teaches architect. He teaches an architect school in the UK. And so as a group, we all ended up building this school in Uganda, and it was just incredible.
Okay, so
One of the
you, yeah.
during this process, so if you think about, I mean, he's a child. To me, he looks like a child, Mugisha. He's so slender. You know, their diet is so different, but he's so small, slender. He's also so quiet. When I was in meetings on Zoom like this, he's so quiet, and it was just so funny. So much of his personality came out in the letters they would send to me, and then also in but he was so quiet online. Also, he's wonderful online as well, and he communicated very, very well. But I don't know why, but I got this. I just and he's so small. That's just what I can remember so much. But
Right.
my nickname was I started calling him the Lion. I
Okay.
said, "You're the Lion. That's who I see you as. You're a lion, Mugisha. I mean,
Aw,
just what you've been able to accomplish and to build this school. How incredible you are. It's just so amazing." And so he sent me a note after we got the school built. He sent me a note, and he had not talked to his mother. So he had left Sierra Leone. He was running the school. It's been 5 years since he had been home. He 5 years since everything. He's still very, very young guy. But my point is, only he's been gone from his family for 5 years. Somehow a cell phone, someone got a cell phone to his mother, and they got a cell phone to him in Uganda, and he was able to talk to his mother for the first time in 5 years.
aw, wow.
And he said, Tim, and this is what he was telling me. He was so excited. He just spoke to his mother. He says, Tim, in my mother's native tongue, he goes, do you know what she called me 5 times in in our conversation on the phone that I've not spoken to her in 5 years? What do you think? Do you have any guess of what she's
A
called?
lion.
Yes.
Yes.
He goes, You're a lion, my son. You're a
Oh
lion
my
in their
God.
native language from Sierra
Oh,
Leone. He's like, Tim, she
wow.
called me the lion. How is that? It's just so amazing. Here I am, saying that. I was like, oh my gosh.
That is
I
fantastic.
was just so blown away with that.
So that
Exactly.
was the second school that you were a part of?
No, no, that's the third school. That was the fourth school because we had two schools, one school in Calcutta, India.
Yep.
Then the two schools, I count the two schools in Indonesia.
Okay.
And so I'm going, my goal is 100. So if I can count, even though it's the same school and we just moved to a new building, I count it as two schools. But
Absolutely.
yeah, that's so. And then the fourth one is is this one that we're talking about, the one in Uganda. And so that's been approximately 2 years. And then there's a fifth one in India as well. The thing I don't share this often, but Mugisha is so incredible. But Mugisha was walking to another city to go pick up books for the library for the school, and he was killed in a roadside accident in that a truck hit him and killed him. Just recently passed away, and so it's just amazing. It's just unbelievable and amazing. But and his brother is working to pick up where he picked left off. But that is the Uganda, and that's Mugisha. And I can share stories. I just was so amazed. I mean, he needed to learn English, and so he built the schoolhouse, with mud,
Wow.
and street children, made the blocks to end up and built the schoolhouse that he ended up learning English in.
Wow.
That's resourceful.
Do you have any recordings of him, like recorded
Oh
interviews
yeah, yeah.
with him?
Yeah, I don't know if I have a recording with him, but there's YouTube channel, there's some YouTube videos and I've got some articles and all sorts of things. But
It,
yeah, we have videos. I mean, there's probably videos of our Zoom meetings. I would have to go and find them and all, but yeah,
it'd
yeah,
be
there's a
cool to have like access to a clip or a picture um
yeah.
to somehow put into
Yeah. Oh yeah,
of the
let me see if
schools and of these great men and great friends. It would be great. And we can do a
yeah,
share screen if you want. I've got
I'm gonna
we got time because
yeah.
this is important stuff. This is beautiful stuff.
yeah, it's just I'm gonna share a picture of Mugisha right now,
Thank
and
you.
it's just so incredible. Send request to share.
There it is. You should have it.
So this is Mugisha, and you see what I'm saying about how I
Oh,
mean I don't know if you can tell he's
hello. Look at him.
yeah, I know, I know.
Wow. I
And
like
then
his
his
style too. I think Aaron
I
would love
know.
this. Look at that. Wow.
Oh yeah, I think Aaron would too. I think Aaron
Absolutely. That's got Aaron all over it.
and he has a website. I mean, he has a Facebook page. His brother runs it now, but it's Mugisha Nam Wangagwa Christoph. And
Okay, so
so
that's it
yeah,
right
so
there. Okay.
yeah, yeah. So that's his page and
Oh, wow. I'm so glad we did get to do this for
yeah,
him
so
and
he's
for,
incredible. Yeah, and the amount of people he's impacting in Uganda is and it continues to impact. Like, he impacted me and just like think about like the problems you or I might have
Mhm.
and I think about some my friend different people and they're like late for work. Oh my gosh, it's
Right?
terrible. I'm late for work or I can't
My
believe
coffee's cold.
my coffee's cold. And he's like, "Oh, I can't even speak the language." I know, I'll just build a school and then I'll go to class in the school after I build it, for 4 months. And it's just amazing.
That is inspiring. Very, very inspiring. So now you have you said you want to do 100 schools. So
Yes.
um what tell me okay, so you did the first two with your friend?
Yeah, I did. Well, no, I did one with Amlin. And so no, I've done two with Amlin. So Amlin asked me to help with another one. So we've actually done a second one with Amlin. And
You
then
have pictures of that?
yeah, I have all kinds of pictures. Yeah.
Could we share that?
Yeah. Oh, yes. Yep. You mean to just send you all these, send you a bunch of pictures? Do you want to put it in there? Is that what
I,
you,
well, I think we'll just put it right up on the screen because we're
or do
kind
you
of
mean to do it? You'd rather I do it in real time, I
yeah, if
guess.
you can, yeah, just we got time. And
Yeah.
I'll
So to tell you about Amlin, the strangest, do you want me to just share with you the story about Amlin?
yes, please, while you're digging
Okay.
around. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So the strange, I don't know. I was going to tell like, this is more a story about me, I guess. But,
All right.
um, so so it was 2014 and I was probably like a really tough place as far as business and work goes. I don't know what was going on. I don't even know. I don't know if that matters, but regardless, I remember it was a winter time. I'm pretty sure it was really cold and I was watching documentaries. So we lived on an island, and so at the time we're in Florida, but we're on a different area, and um, so I was going through Netflix. So I love documentaries, and so I was looking for a documentary to watch, and so I was going through all these documentaries, and I saw a documentary. The title of it was The Revolutionary Optimist. Revolutionary Optimist. And then I saw a girl, and I'm going to show you the exact image. I am going to take the time to do
Yes, this
this.
is great. Yes, this is great.
And this, yeah, so let's see if I can get on the screen so you can see. Okay, so let's see if I can share this. So I saw this in the Netflix guide, The Revolutionary Optimist, this girl. It says,
Okay.
how far would you go to change your world? And so I saw this image. That's all I saw. And when I did see this image, literally the hair on the back of my neck stood up. That's all I saw. I saw this name, and then the hair on the back of my neck stood up. And I was like, oh my gosh. And then my eyes, because it's like, I had this epiphany. I said, I'm going to help these people. I'm going to help
Aw.
whatever I'm going to be involved with this. I'm going to help out. And I was like, what are you talking about? Like, here I am. I'm in Florida and I'm seeing, I was like, what is this? So then I click and I end up, I watch this documentary. And so, by watching the documentary, I get all the information I need to be able to contact. Because, I'm very good at getting in touch. That's part of my job is get in touch with the right people and do the right, do things. So I'm like, okay, so I watch it, take my notes, and then I start my work to start reaching out and said, I'm going to help them. And so I send this note to Amlin and I sent this first note. I said, like, Amlin, I'm so excited. I'm going to help you guys out. I can't wait to help you. What can I do to assist? What kind of needs might you have? Whatever. How can I help out? And I get this note back. It says, Tim, no, we don't need any help. Um, there's not anything you can do. If you're ever in the area, stop by. Thank you very much for your note. Have a great day. See you later. Goodbye. And I'm like, oh my gosh. And so I'm so upset that I'm like blown off that I can't help. And I'm like, this is ridiculous. And I'm like really upset. So then I end up writing this. I write this very upset email. It's like, who are you to
Oh.
stop me from helping you and your school? What are you talking about? I can help out. There's all kinds of things I can do to assist. Why in the world are you blowing me off like this? Is just, I said, wait a second. Tim, you're upset. You can't send this email. And so I don't send the email. I said, you have to wait 24 hours before you send any email. So I'm like, okay,
Always a great sage of advice.
yes,
You never send her an email that you've written when you're angry
exactly. And
ever.
so, and so I'm like, okay, let's calm down, relax, and we'll wait 24 hours. We'll send emails. So I wait. I said, I'm not doing anything. And I go about my business. I don't know, whatever. So then about an hour later, with me doing nothing, I get a second email.
Oh, oh.
A second email without me sending an email. And it says, Dear Tim, thank you so much for your kind offer. We look forward to working with you. It'll be fascinating what we could figure out. Thank you very much. Signed, Amlin. I said, what?
You got
And
whiplash.
yeah, it's like, what just happened? I'm like, wow, okay. And so then we end up having our conversations and then we started, and he did invite me he immediately says, Tim, you need to come visit. That's what we want you to do. And then, but when then we started working on, I discovered, I don't think it wasn't immediate, but at some point he's like, Tim, with your food background, we've always wanted to start a food school. Can you help us set that up? And so I did. And so I just went through the process and that's how we got started with Amlin. But it was, the genesis of that relationship and how it started, it's just so fun and amazing. And it was just so strange. And it was a whiplash for me at the
Right, but in
time.
a good way. I guess
Yes,
they do say that if you change your energy or your
exactly.
that other things will come to you, but if you force it or whatever, then you're going to get kind of that back. So that's the first thing that came to mind was that's
Yeah.
like a real life example of like if you settle down, calm down or
And
whatever, just decide
yep.
maybe this
I
isn't
just,
the best. It might just come to you in a
right.
beautiful,
And
harmonious
that's what happened. And so it's been a 10-year, it's now been 10 years. It's been an incredible relationship. We've been able to help so much, assist Amlin and his vision. Amlin's incredible as well. I was talking about Mugisha. Think
yes. Do
about,
you
so Amlin grew up in the castle, the Indian royalty. He grew up living in the home of India's royalty.
wow.
Yeah,
What
I
is that
know
like?
exactly. And so his father was a civil servant for the Indian government. And so he grew up as a child. He lived in the castle. And so because of that, his family had no money. He had no actual really money, but he was able to go to college. It was like a full scholarship. They took care of everything.
Oh,
And so he ended up and became an attorney in India because he could go to college and very well educated. But then he realized how really the way the court system is organized, it's like this is really just about poverty. That if you don't have money, you're not going to get justice. You really have to hire an attorney, and no one, many of the poor people. So he's like, I need to change this. I need to think about what can I do to improve the lives of these people so they don't end up in court. And so that's when he started Prayasam, and that's the organization he founded and went forward with. And then the group, my work, the school, the food school is called Prasad, and so that's what we created together was Prasad. Prayasam is the NGO that he was able to create, and he left. He quit being an attorney and just has been running this group.
Can you, do you have pictures of the school and of him that we could put up?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. You can Google all of this, but yeah, it turns out he is a Ford Fellow. He's also a Rockefeller Foundation recipient, and he's also an Adobe Fellow. And he's because of all the,
So he's quite the fellow.
yeah, he's very well known. In the NGO circles around the world, he's very well known. And his ideas are revolutionary the way that he did it. So the
Good
reason
for
I was so
him.
attracted.
I
Yeah, pray
I
us
feel
some.
like he had a very like he got to have the perspective of both worlds, the haves and the haves nots, and somehow
Yes,
having grown up the way that he did, he was able to bridge the gap or see the commonality or the needs of the have nots and to blend with the haves.
exactly. Yeah, exactly. So yeah, that's exactly, I think, what it was or what it is.
Yeah,
And
that's a
so,
cool perspective. That's
yeah,
great.
I'm having trouble with the website. But if you go to prayasam.org,
How do you
uh,
spell it?
pray, just like pray,
Okay,
pray,
right.
psalm.org. You
Like
can
the
share that.
book in the Bible?
Yeah, like pray in the Bible,
Okay. Pray a psalm. Yeah, it didn't come up. It said can't be reached.
but .org.
Oh, .org. Okay, let's try that then. I'll see if I can swing it over there. How's that?
Okay.
It says not secure. Hmm.
Yeah,
Hmm.
that's probably, that is the site.
Okay.
I'm sure it is.
All right. So, but if you happen to have a picture of the school,
Well, I have I can share this because it pulled up, but this is Hamlin, and I just Googled him real quick, and this is
perfect.
one of his pictures.
Look at
And
that.
so, helping children in slum areas. So he helps West Bengal of Calcutta to lead their communities and improve. So what his idea was to bring these children into the school, and they go into the community and improve the community, children. And so what happens is they're given a mission and guidance. They're in the slums, and then they're changing their world, and they're also growing themselves. And so that's the process, and it's just incredible, absolutely incredible. So
Part of me, he looks that's great work that he's doing, and I love how highly you speak of him. And part of me is like thinking to myself as I'm reading, like he's helping the children in the slum area. Part of me
yes,
is wondering if I wonder if they should rename that.
I don't know.
You know
I
what I
don't
mean?
know.
Because like if you're like, I live in the slum area, does that
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah,
somehow
yeah.
create an idea?
They call it. Yeah, I agree. I'm with you there.
Yeah.
That's what they
It is what
definitely
it
call it.
is, but part of
Yeah,
me is like, I think that could help you identify with
you're
either
right.
with
The
either
other
succeeding or not
to
succeeding.
tell you, I tell you a funny story about Emlyn. So I got, early somewhere along the line, I learned that a lot of the girls, specifically the girls. So one of the things we did, we helped create some soccer leagues. But I was very familiar that the girls in the family would have to go get water for the family's needs that day, and they would take a lot of the girls did not go to school because they had to go get water, and so it'd be a 90-minute trip to go get the day's water for washing clothes, for drinking, for cooking, whatever the needs were. So I had this brilliant idea without talking to Amlin about it. And so I was like, oh, I saw these things. They're called they're water wheels. Is what someone created is for specifically for Africa. Really was the focus, not India. But
Right?
I saw these water wheels, and so what it is basically a wheel that you fill up with water, and it can hold 40 gallons, and then you can pull it with a handle or a rope. You just run a rope through the center, and a kid can pull 40 gallons very easily
Oh,
in
wow.
this water wheel. And I was like, oh, this is a solution. We can get those for the school, get five of them, and then it'll bring 40 gallons, and then they can trade them. Share it with the family and everything. And so we actually bought some of these. I was getting ready to ship them to India, ship them to Emlyn, and then Emlyn goes, no, 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 Tim, you can't send those to us. I'm like, what are you talking about? He goes, Tim, we've been working for 2 years with the Indian government, and they're about to turn the water on in the slum area. There's pipes there, but the water has been off, and we're close to them turning it on. If they see these barrels, they may not turn the water on. Also,
Wow.
you're gonna create problems for us at the well where we get the water because it's going to take forever to fill them up and people are going to get mad. It's going to create arguments. It's just not a good thing to do right now. It's not do this. And so I'm like, oh wow, I had no idea. I'm thinking, oh, I'm doing a great job. I've organized my friends, and we're going to send these water wheels to Emlyn, and it's like, Tim, we don't need them. They won't help us. And so
Wow.
he ended up, yeah, it took longer, but he ended up getting the water turned on there, and so that was just amazing, that little situation.
Wow. Wow. Isn't that like perspective, right?
Yes,
Perspective.
exactly.
I'm
Can I
learning
take a
so
break
much.
for a minute?
Absolutely.
Okay, so I'll be back in like 5 minutes. Should
Okay.
we stop and come back, or should we
I
just
could
pause?
I could pause the recording for sure. Yeah.
Okay, so I'll be right back. There's Amlin.
So
Yes,
Amlin. Okay, so
Amlin Ganguly. Yeah, so I was just showing the school. So they've got this is just sharing different leaders of the school and the programs, and they have some really incredible. There was a picture of Amlin here
is
leading a
this him?
class. I mean,
Um,
well, this is the school. This is all people at the school and different folks. There's Amlin on the left-hand side leading the class.
okay, so we're seeing a
So,
website just kind of go through
yeah,
these
we're on a
images.
website.
Okay.
Yeah,
Oh, look
we're
at
on a
that.
website that's going through everything
Yeah. Are you able
there.
to, okay, are you able to click on the school? Is that him?
Yeah, well, no,
That's
no,
the
this is just
girl.
one of the students.
Okay, so that's one
This,
of the students.
yeah, this is Sushis. I actually just met him just recently there. So, and then and this is some of the leaders of the school.
Wow.
Yeah,
Okay.
and yeah, so
And all right.
Tarshi, let's see. Manish is a friend of mine. I mean, there's so many of them on here are so helpful. And
Awesome.
so anyway, yeah, so there's that. I was going to show you
Oh, I want to see
I
the
was
school again. Oops.
okay, you want to see the school again? What?
Yeah, at the with your friend there.
Okay, so this is on my website.
Okay,
And so
perfect.
I was just going to share, this is
Yeah,
one of the
thank
group,
you.
this is the class, this is the catering school group. And this is the American Center where they do the canteen or they do the lunchroom and the breakfast in the background. And
Oh,
so I'm just showing
wow.
them.
Look at that.
This is early on. So this was a group. This is where my company donated the textbooks for them to learn some computer programming. They don't have computers for everyone, but we use books to teach them the software, the program. So we did it in a learning method. So that's how we got around the fact that we had the constraint of the computers. So we had to teach them, and then they share. They had like three computers, so they had to we did the book learning and then they had to share on the computer. So
Okay.
that was the here we are inside the American Center here. And this is these are youth, so they're younger. What got me really charged about the school building effort was when I became aware around Calcutta, there's 400,000 children working in this in the brick kilns, and they've never been inside a school. And so that's I said, oh wow. So okay, so 400,000. And I just said, well, I'm gonna do if I could build 100 schools, that would have an impact on these kids. And this image of these two children in this brick kiln working, it was just ridiculous. And so, but they can't go to school. One of the reasons they can't go to school is in order to feed themselves, in order for their family to survive, they have to have her money, the money that she makes in this brick kiln to pay for the food just to survive. And it's just absurd. It's just unimaginable. And so this is really what this and some other ideas is it came up and said, oh wow. So if I could help build 100 schools, it would have an impact.
Uh,
This is the school. This is actually in the school building in Mogadishu that we were talking about. This is the building that we actually created and built in Uganda, Africa. And it's and that's the school, and that's actually it. We were talking earlier about in Indonesia, and this is the children from the refugee camp in outside of Tangerang, Indonesia, and this is a school in the background. They were getting ready to open it up, and we were able to get this picture made. I shared this with someone, one of my clients, and they're like, "Tim, yes, these are Pakistani children. They knew, or Afghanistan, they knew exactly where the dress that they're wearing is not from Indonesia. I didn't know. I don't know this, but they're like, yeah, Tim, those this picture was taken in Tangerang, Indonesia, but they're actually wearing Afghanistan. They're wearing clothing that is traditionally from that area of the world, not in Indonesia. So I thought that was amazing. But just these kids, when I saw this picture, it's one thing to be here in my office and helping build this school, but
right.
to actually see the children here, when I first time I saw this picture, I was like, oh my God. I was like, wow, that's just unimaginable. It just was incredible.
They're cute.
Yeah, very, very much so. It's just incredible. And so that was that. These are the soccer leagues I was telling you about. All we
Yeah,
did was
I
just
need to know
donate the,
more about this. Okay, so they got the water running. Is this the people that got the water running, and so now the
yes,
girls didn't
correct.
have to lug the water for 90 minutes or go to where the water is 90 minutes away
Yes.
and then lug the water
Yep.
for their family. So
Yes.
now they get to play soccer?
Right. Yeah, exactly. I didn't think about it like that, but yes. And so
Yes.
all we did, a buddy of mine used to play professional soccer. And so he ended up donating. He said, Tim, I want to donate these unpoppable soccer balls. And so we were able to, get the balls there and
Oh gosh.
just the soccer balls. It's not like they have Walmart. They just go buy a soccer ball. This was a big deal. And
Yes.
what we did, one soccer ball went to one community. We had 15 soccer balls, and so they went to different communities so they all could start a league in each little area. And so that is that's that. And all that was this was simple. I mean, it wasn't simple. I could tell you there's a long story involved in this,
I
but
do have a question, and I'm cool with
yeah,
long stories, but I do have a question. Who makes
yep.
those unpoppable soccer balls?
It's a foundation. So if you just look up Google unpoppable soccer ball, and there's like it's like it's a global soccer ball type. It's part of a mission. So like the idea is you could ship these to Africa,
Nice.
and they don't pop, and they feel like a regular soccer ball. They
Yes.
kick and react like a normal soccer ball,
Okay. I'm
but
looking
you
it
don't have
up
to
right
worry.
now.
You don't have to worry about finding a convenience store and a needle to put air in it, or it would pop in 6 months.
Yeah. Okay, so here we go. So the One World Play Project.
That's it.
Unflappable, unbreakable, non-deflating, non-toxic. Um, Let me see. Okay, yeah, in the one world, indestructible soccer ball. I'm gonna go ahead and just pull this over here so people can see it. It
Yeah,
looks
you can
like
share
it's,
it.
yeah, it looks like it's on, let's see. Yeah, it looks like, um, hmm.
Or you can buy it on Amazon. Is that
Yeah,
for
it looks
sale?
like you can buy it on
I
Amazon.
didn't know it was on Amazon.
Yeah, so are you
My
able
buddy
to see
Brian.
that?
Yeah, I did see it. You did
Okay,
share it.
all right.
Yep. And so Brian's the one that donated the soccer balls. And
All
then
right, here,
we
one.
had a big problem. It was so funny. Um, so they were stuck in customs in India. And so we had so much. I mean, it was in there for months. The balls were.
Uh-huh.
And so I kept checking with Amlin, have you gotten the balls? Have you received them? Have you been able to, because I was like, okay, I did all my work. I, got everything organized, got it shipped. I got it
Mm-hmm.
all packaged up. It's like, okay, so Amlin, you take care of it from here, get it. But he couldn't get it out of customs.
Oh,
And
okay.
so it was a hassle. I mean, it was so unbelievable. And so finally, it turns out the president of FedEx America, the corporate office of Federal Express here in the United States, is of Indian descent.
Oh,
And
wow.
so I was able, with his help, we were able to get him dislodged from customs. And then once he got involved, like within 24 hours, Amlin had the soccer balls. So it was amazing. It was funny, but it took months to get those soccer balls there. It's months. It was just unbelievable.
Wow. I mean, just so many. There's like each one of these, I guess I'm just going to call them like nodes, like in the way that all these things are playing out. Each one of these things that you're talking about is a story in and of itself. It's
Yes.
it's not like it's not like me like, oh, so today I went here and I went there and I clicked on this and I clicked on that and I met with so and so and I did such and such or whatever. It's like each one a feat. Every single one of these is a feat
Hmm.
in and of itself. That is amazing. Wow,
Wow.
this is great. Okay, so because so now you've have three or four schools.
There's 5 schools total.
Five, yay. All right, so
Yeah.
five schools now. All right.
Yeah.
And so your goal is to help build
My goal is assist in building 100 schools.
100 schools. Do you
Yeah.
have, and we've never talked about this part of it before, and it wasn't necessarily the intent of the video, but I mean, since we're here, is there a place to donate if people felt like they wanted to?
Not really. No, no, I don't. I mean, I've thought about that. Some of my friends I've thought about that, but I mean, my goal is I want to do it. I mean, this is the way I think. I want to build, it's like, I don't want to share with anyone else. It's like, I want to do it all. So I want to do it. And so I did have the idea. I said, well, wait a second, Tim. I don't have to like take care of all of this. Maybe I can do it with other people. And so, um,
Yeah, who are
you,
you to
you,
say that,
I know
we couldn't help?
exactly, exactly. I know, and I'm not, and so I have to work through that. One of the things. So some of my friends have brought this up in the past. So I said, oh, okay. So I just have them go to Jan. Jan's the architect that I met through Mugisha. Mugisha actually introduced me to the architect. Not, I didn't find the architect. Mugisha introduced me to Jan. His name's Jan Glashmere, and he's in the UK. He's a professor, and he's also the inventor or he has a company called Simple Earth Architecture. And so he was building schools in Thailand. And part of the reason that we could build the school that I showed you earlier was the fact that we could do it for $14,000. So it's so inexpensive. And so it's just I thought, and before I met Jen, and that's expanded my thinking. So I was thinking that a school costs 140,000. I
Okay.
don't know why I thought that. I just had this number. Like if I was going to build a school, and I saw a
Maybe it's
charity that had built,
140,000 for all of them.
yeah, exactly. I saw this school. I saw a school that was built in Africa, and in the video, it said something like they had 150,000 in the school or something. So I was like, okay. So
Okay,
then I met
gotcha.
Jan through Magisha, and he's like, "Oh, Tim, we can do this for $15,000." I'm like, "What?" He goes, "Yeah, we can use local materials, we can use local earth, and just bring in a few little items to make it a really nice,
Right.
a nice school." And these, it basically, we're going to have, roughly. I mean, it's not mud because it's bricks, but we're going to have mud walls, and then we're going to have a very high quality protective roof and with aluminum that's going to allow the water to run off and not damage the walls. But
Eroded. Yeah.
we actually create cement. It's not just mud. I mean, it's actually
Right.
cement bricks and things like that.
Right. Right.
So so it's like, oh wow, we can do that. So that when I had that idea, $14,000, I was like, oh my gosh, I could build a lot more than say a couple of schools in my lifetime. At $14,000, we could build 100 schools. And so some other people help influence me, and then I got this new idea of 100 schools, and so that's
It's a
where it was.
great idea, Tim. It is a great idea.
Yeah,
And people don't necessarily. Okay, so one of the really, really cool things about you, which has inspired me as well, and like re-inspired me as well, is from a very, I believe it was you, from a very young, yes, it is you. Um, you decided early on that when you decided to study with someone, am I correct? Or if you want to know more, you were going to get to the top. Like if you wanted to know about any particular subject, you were going to go to the closest person you could get to the top and study with them, right? Didn't you intern or
yeah,
something like that, or something
yep,
like that? You had made up your
yeah,
mind.
yeah,
It's coming back to me. You had made up your mind that you just needed to, right? So, and it would be cool to go into that a little bit because I feel like that's great advice as well. Is to because they say that you are a product of the top five people that you spend time with, and you strategically were like, this is going to be one of my, one of the people that I'm going to focus on because I see them to be as successful in doing things in the right way, and I want to follow that. So it isn't necessary. I guess what want to say here is that even if someone wasn't going to do money, maybe they have other connections with other people that might be able to help in another way, and just bridge these because it looks like a lot of what has happened for you and for others is the connections that have been made along the way. I don't think I've really heard a whole lot about the money that has passed hands along the way, but the connections and the doing of and the intent has been, I think, if I was gonna, throw a net over all this, I'd say it's been the connections, it's been the passion, it's been the drive, it's been the vision, it's been the intention that has really catapulted this. It hasn't been like, oh, and a big giant bag of money fell from the sky, and that's how this all happened. Not that that doesn't not help, but I'm liking the integrity of the whole thing in terms of how this has organically played out, and most of it is intent and drive and goodwill towards others, towards all. And so I think though that that we want to do that, and I think that it might be time to set up some kind of a a something, and I don't know what that is, right? But set up
yeah. I
something
don't
to
know.
if people wanted to help, even if it was, I don't know,
Well, yes.
maybe they
Well,
reach
if
out to
some
you.
No, no. I think they should reach out. Possibly they should reach out to me, but they really they should potentially go reach out to Amlin. So if they wanted to donate to Amlin School, I
Okay,
recommend donate to Amlin. Also, Jan Glashmere. If you he has you can look up Jan Simple Earth Architect and donate to him because his he's doing the same thing. He's doing
okay,
building the cause. And then, but Amlin would be that's the closest thing, and he actually has an NGO, and you could send that to him. I don't have anything organized. I don't.
perfect. Good
Yep.
enough. That's it. That's it.
Yep.
And so,
Yep.
and
So
I trust.
prayasam.org, and you can go on there, donate. If you're in America, it might be difficult, but they've got a relationship with a NGO platform here in the United States, and it's tax deductible if you donate to their, I think it's called like Om Parish, something like that, Om Parish, something. But if you go to donate, if you go to prayasam.org, and I think there's a donate button, it'll take you to what we're talking about, and you could donate, $5, 1,000, 100,000, whatever you want to donate. But that would be that's is a great way to do it.
Awesome. So what I'll try to do is get that and more so put it
And
in.
now if they want to hire me, if they need consulting for a CPG product, they
Yeah.
need food growth, they want to
Yeah.
grow their food business or consumer product business, hire me, and then it'll allow me to do more with what I'm doing. But that's totally different. That's very
Okay. I'm glad we went there, Tim. So
yeah, yeah.
now let's talk about what it is you do. I mean, uh,
Yeah,
I think one of my so this is my favorite. This is one of my favorite things that you've done is for other countries and allowing for other people to come in, right?
yeah.
And then also be self-sufficient where they are and honoring that and everything that goes with that. But I'm gonna go from my perspective, which is Costco. Like you have
Right.
somehow, cracked the matrix of getting into Costco for a couple of, how many people would you say?
Oh yeah, I've gotten it for 23 different companies. Now, when you say that, I think of cracking the code for QVC. So QVC
Oh,
television, thousands of people want to get on QVC television. Very
right,
few do. And
right.
so for me to get my first item on QVC television took me 4 years. After I cracked the code, as you said, I ended up getting 11 more items on QVC television very quickly after that first item. After 4 years of trying to figure out the code,
Uh-huh,
and when you
uh-huh.
say crack the code, I think of, but it's similar with Costco. It really is similar as far as cracking the code. There is a code and there's a
Okay.
process. You have to speak in a certain, I mean, there's certain things they're looking for. There's certain things they need, and you need to be able to meet all those requirements. And so it's just like with everything that I've done, there's a code to be had. And if you know the map, and you understand what the constraints are, what the needs are, and where the mountains and the valleys and
Yeah.
the rapids are, you can avoid and or go down the path. And so what I've ended up doing is finding a path that works and follow it.
Like a
That's
treasure
really
map. Arr.
right. Exactly.
Arr, matey.
Yep.
So because I'm going to come back to Costco and then like I'm saying like hacked or cracked or whatever to or the map to Costco, and why I bring this up is for a couple of different things, and one is I appreciate what Costco does. Like they don't just let anyone in. They have to be vetted
Right.
in some way, and it has to be the way that they want. They have a
There's a
specific
way. Yeah,
specific
there's a way to think
formula.
about. Yeah, there's a
Yeah.
way to think about this. Think about your Walmart Supercenter has about a
Mhm.
hundred has approximately 100,000 items there.
Okay, that's a lot.
Think of Yeah, and it's the size is roughly, I don't know if it's the same as a Costco, but it's
Sure.
I mean it's similar in
Yeah.
size. I know
Yeah.
they're not exactly. And then you have a Costco location. If you had to guess, but I'll just share with you, there's 4,000, only 4,000 items in a Costco. So that's 4% of what's in a Walmart.
Wow.
Yep.
Wow.
Yep. So
So
you're right. So
so
it's
they have to
very,
be,
very
they
select.
have to be selective. And
Yep.
one of the things, I mean, they have a really good, they have a good return policy because they stand by what they've allowed to go in their stores. And so
Right.
they have quality. And then I like the fact that when I get something from Costco, I'm like, I know that this is a version that is sold somewhere else, but a step above it, So let's say I'm
Yeah.
getting, I don't know, I'm just going to say like Doritos. It
Right.
is Doritos, but it is maybe very close to, let's say, I don't know, let's say it's a bag of Doritos and it's equivalent to two bags, right? Because they're gonna do
Yeah.
bulk, right? So it's equivalent to two bags. It's not the price of one bag, but it's not the price of two bags. It's one. Or if I'm all right, so like, or another example would be like if I'm getting a computer, this is how my brain works. And I think of Costco. For one, they have the good return policy. And there's some nuances to that as well when you get electronics there, right? But what I do know is that let's say you got a laptop and it had this much storage and this much speed in it, right? And it would take the same brand that is offering somewhere else and be like, all right, if this one was say 500 gigs, let's just say in this laptop somewhere else, Costco's like, listen, you're going to give it to us for like 100 gigs in here, right? Am I kind of
Yeah,
right?
of course. Yes.
So that our customers are getting, and then they're not going to double the price, even though it went from 500 to 100 gigs. They're going to go ahead and be like, all right, we're going to do 100 gigs and we're going to do it at this price, and you have to give us some kind of quality. Would you agree with that?
Not only, yeah, not, you're absolutely correct. No, so absolutely. That's why. So Costco is the largest seller of diamonds, single source seller of diamonds in the
I did
world.
not know that.
They're the largest wine store in the world. There's no one that sells more wine. When they buy salmon, when they choose the source of salmon, it impacts the entire world market of salmon. So they're the third largest retailer in the world with only a few hundred locations.
They
They
do
have
have good
they have
salmon.
individual, so to give you an idea, they have individual locations that do about $10 million per week, or that is a $500 million in sales. Half billion in one Costco location. One Costco location. I'm not talking about the whole company. I'm saying
Right.
one of their locations
Wow.
can do approximately a $500 million a year in sales.
So number one diamonds, number one wine, and then
Yeah, there's no one that sells as many pumpkin pies as they do. They sell millions and millions and millions of pumpkin pies at
they do have
Thanksgiving.
a good pumpkin pie, and it's a big
Yeah,
pumpkin pie.
right,
Like,
right.
like they're
So,
like, we're gonna take the regular standard and we're gonna Costco size it, and it's gonna be
yeah,
delicious.
right. And so they're very, there's just it's an amazing business. It's just an amazing business. And I've had a good fortune of meeting the founder, Jim Senegal, four different times, and
Wow.
I've learned from him on almost everything that I know about Costco. So much of it is directly from him and from the people that work with him, as far as what's happening in the innovations that he's made. Also, he's the one that has influenced so much of the success of my clients in other areas as well because of his ideas, his strategies, and the things that he makes happen. It wasn't until I started doing things with Costco that I realized so many of the things, so many of the issues, opportunities just in the food space, and it just changed everything. Just so many different things changed for me. But you're not imagining at all because they have some incredible secret weapons. It's not necessarily secret, but people don't realize really what's
Standard.
happening. Yeah.
Standards.
So one of
Yeah.
the things to share with you, when I tell you this, and my camera, when I share this with you, you're going to you're going to understand it. But one of the things, Costco, this is one of the strange things. Costco does not make money from selling a product. Did you know that?
Oh, um,
So when you buy
no,
a pen,
like
when you buy
it's
when you
clicking
buy
inside, but like, no, I did not know that off the cuff. Absolutely not.
Yeah, so Jim will grill you. So if you're a building manager, if you work for Costco and you're selling a product for more than basically what it cost, you're going to get in trouble with Jim and also other leadership. He's retired. He's not in the day to day, but um, you're going to be have an issue because of the way they run the business. So they do not the profits they make as a company do not come from selling merchandise. So when you buy, what are the top three things you like to buy you mentioned Doritos. Okay, so the
Yeah, I like
Doritos.
their
Do you
I
buy
love,
Doritos at Walmart or Publix?
I have absolutely have
Yep.
done that. Yeah.
And so Walmart and Publix, when you buy those Doritos, there's profit for the
Oh my
retailer.
gosh.
At Costco, there's no profit. So the reason being, Tim, what are you talking about? Help out, explain this.
Yes.
So what Costco does is they basically the profit they make is from selling their membership. So
Wow.
if you go Costco is a publicly traded company, just pull up the number of memberships they're selling each year. Look at the number, their membership income, then look at the profit number. So as a company, what's the profit of Costco? It's roughly equivalent
To a
to the
membership.
amount of their cards, so the membership cards.
Wow. Wow. Huh.
And so because of that, they only sell the merchandise enough to cover their business expenses.
I think I like him even more now because I mean, although I tend to shirk from having to pay a membership for anything, it's almost like I wish I would have known this before today, and I will tell you why. If I was because initially when I bought the membership, I was like, all right, well, in order to be a member of this club, I've got to pay to get in, right? And I was like, fine, that's I'm just gonna go in and buy my stuff or whatever. And I appreciate, everything going on in there and that kind of thing. But what I'm realizing that I was actually buying was trusting that what I'm getting is at cost from this point on.
Yep.
That's huge. That
Yeah.
is huge to me. Like, yeah,
Yes.
you got to pay. I mean, I don't know. I did not know this, but I see them in a different way and the membership in a completely different way. Instead of being like, oh gosh, time for this membership. It's like, wait a minute. Actually, it's time for me to sign up for this distributor who is going to make sure that when I step through their door and buy anything, it's always going to be at cost and not more. And
Right.
that's their whole deal. And I appreciate them more now. And I like that because I felt like before this moment, I felt like not only were they making money selling the things, but they were making money from this membership and perception. When we talk about perception, my perception was like, fine, I got to do this because, and then they're making money through, on me as I'm walking around as well. I mean, I wasn't walking around bitter the whole time, but I felt like that was the relationship that we had. But now I'm seeing that it is me paying for the comfort of knowing the the trust in knowing that when I walk in there and buy anything, it's at cost. And I like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, because there's something to be, yeah, I like that
And,
more.
and remember that the cost, when I share that, I am sharing. It is at their cost but that includes their overhead, so their expenses. So they've got their expenses, but not the profit piece. Profits come from the cards.
Gotcha, gotcha. Okay, but even more so,
Yeah.
it makes sense. Okay, so there is some in there, but not like we're right. Like that's where the
Yep.
primary bulk of their money is from the stuff. It's coming from the memberships
Yep.
more so.
Yeah.
Okay.
All their profits come from memberships. That's the way they run the business, and that's the way
Okay.
they have run it.
Okay, so you're saying that the stuff
And they're aggressive. They want to sell you a membership and they want you to upgrade. I mean, they do push, they want you to move to that executive level. I mean, they definitely do that
okay,
because
yeah.
that's where their profits are.
Uh-huh.
I just, it is just amazing, when you think about it. Um, but
Okay.
one of the things they do, though,
Mhm.
when you start to thinking about it, one of the things they do bring in quality. It needs to be high quality. They
Yes.
want the best. They want the best of everything, and they do sell it. They sell the best of everything at an unbelievable price.
And I'm glad that you clarified that because I'm now understanding that basically the price of what something is basically their overhead, covers their overhead, and
Right.
then the membership is where their profit is at. So I still feel good about that.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
in my book, in my
Oh yeah, your
book,
book.
yes, so everyone's got a recipe. A lot
Yes.
of the ideas that came from Jim Sinegal are the philosophies that I share. Also, the some of the ideas that I call it the nine pillars that I share as far as selling retailers. A lot of that comes from my understanding through Jim and the people that work for him at Costco, and so it had a huge impact on me and how I go to market with my clients.
So I read your book.
Oh yeah, 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 yes.
I
Thank you.
did. I read it, and not being necessarily someone who's looking to market, right, and in
Right.
the way that you've discussed, I actually understood everything that was in there and appreciated everything that was in there. So the book
Yeah.
is actually really good. It's not technical. It's relatable, and so it's not like a textbook. It's a good book in
Yeah, it's
terms.
just like 110 pages.
It's not a big book at all, and it gets right to it, and it's step by step by step by step
Yeah.
of the recipe to
Yeah.
be successful.
Yeah, so my clients have made millions of dollars, multiple millionaires, my clients, multiple millionaires from my clients. And so how did they do that? What did they do? And this is our 27th anniversary. So looking back, I was able to write the book. I wouldn't have been able to write that book, 27 years ago. I wasn't, it wasn't like I had that formula. I just knew what worked. And so my goal was to continue doing what I had done, with the big multinational players, the number ones in their market. And so my clients weren't the biggest in the world. So my goal, how can I take this food entrepreneur and help him be successful? Like I was successful at Nestle and Unilever with, the biggest brands, literally in the biggest brands in the world. They have, so many, Nestle is one of the few companies in the world that has five different products, five different beverages that have over $1 billion a year in profit. And so that gives you just a little insight into their dominance and the success they have. So how can I help a food entrepreneur who's very low on funds be successful? And that's what I would bring to the table is the resourcefulness to be successful, though, like you're a world leader, but yet to do that on a budget. And so that's some of the things that I was able to do with my clients.
One of my favorite stories, because we've been talking as friends for about a year now, and so we've shared different things. And one of the stories that you shared with me was some people might think that they, need to sell nationwide, and you
Right.
actually research and be like, actually, you would do better if you just hung out in your state or in your region, and you do some research to say, just in this region, you have this many people buying this thing that's similar to
Right.
what you're looking to offer. So you actually do have, is this correct how I'm saying it?
That's
You
correct.
actually
Yep.
have a market right here, and you don't have to be nationwide. You could just be region
Exactly.
wide or statewide and then go from there. Can you expand more on that?
Sure. Yeah. I mean, it's very straightforward, just exactly what you shared. So if you think, oh, I want to have a nationwide brand. I want to be a big company. I want to do a great job. Well, do a great job in your neighborhood. Do a great job in your city. Do a great job in your county. Do a great job in your state. There's enough business. So if everyone in your city purchased instead of purchasing from a competitor, purchase from you're unable to meet the demand of the products in your city. And so there's so much opportunity locally. And so that's the key. That's the important point. How can you make a difference in the category that your product is in your city and in your region? And only after you can dominate and do very, very well in your local city do I recommend thinking about scaling that and going to other cities. And so that's where I get into it. And I share the story I think I shared with you. I'm sure it's the company that did about 7, 8, they were doing about 7 million. It was either 6 or 8. I can't remember right now, but they were doing about $7 million a year in sales. And so they sold nationwide and they had not made any profits. I was able to do my database research, pull up my stuff, and within 100 miles of their factory was $400 million in purchases in their category. So They were going nationwide for $8 million, and there was $400 million within 100 miles of their factory.
Wow.
So guess what? They quit selling east of the Mississippi River because they're on the West Coast. Quit selling east of the Mississippi, sold only on the West Coast as the first year they ever made a profit.
Wow. So you're able to basically someone would come to you and then they would be like, this is me, this is us, this is what we're doing. And then you do actually have a really good brain for seeing things that others may not see in terms of opportunities.
Yeah,
And so you help them to do that and then guide them from there.
yeah,
And so would you say that's true? Yes.
yeah. That is so. Yeah. My clients, I'm super resourceful, and I
Yeah.
see because of my experience, I see things that others don't see. Yep.
I have a great story for that, which is
Okay.
that you have shared with me in the past, which is Dyson. Is it
Oh,
okay if
okay.
we
Go
talk
ahead. Yeah,
about
go ahead.
Dyson?
Yeah, yeah, sure.
So, from what I understand, Dyson had a product, correct, that they were
Yeah, sure.
using, and they
Yeah,
had
the
this
vacuum.
marketing
This is from the
department.
UK. This is Sir Dyson. Sir James Dyson
Okay.
is the founder and creator of the company. Or do you want me to tell this? You want to go ahead? Did you want to tell the story?
Well, I can give my version and or you can my version is basically they only saw the product one way. They saw it
Yeah,
only being marketed one way, one niche for it, and
yeah,
they didn't see it going any other way. And so
yeah.
therefore they weren't growing
Right.
and then you came in and were like, well, actually, what if you did this with it and market it this way too, or offer it this way too? And then, so
Yeah.
that's the story I'm talking about there.
So what I can tell you the exact. So that's and we had an 83% increase in sales the following year with that, almost 100%. By doing what you're saying. So what did I do? What did I do or how did I help them? So I wasn't sure. They're like, Tim, can you help us grow this division? So I was unsure. I said, okay. It's kind of like the schools. Tim, we want to open a school. And I'm like, oh, what am I going to do? I don't know. It's like, I'm curious. What am I going to do? Because I didn't know going into it. I had no idea. Can I help Dyson? I mean,
Can I ask you a
I think of
question?
Dyson. Yes.
Can I ask you a question? Did
Yeah.
you ask him to write you 12 letters every Friday or a
No,
letter every Friday?
no. I was
Mr.
like, I was
Dyson, I
happy. No,
cannot
no,
help
no,
you.
no.
You're gonna have
No, I was like right on it. I was like, oh yeah, this is fantastic. Yeah, no, I'm right there. No, I did not do that.
to. Okay.
That's funny. Yeah, but I did think, it's like in the back of my mind, I didn't tell them this, but I was like, how am I going to help these people? Oh my gosh, this is like a magic trick because I had a lot of appreciation for Dice, and I think, oh wow, little old Tim, what can I do to help them? Why, how am I going to help them? So I just started thinking about what is it I need to do here. And so it's all about customers. We need more, we need more sales. So luckily, I have you've talked about this earlier in our call, but I had a mentor that, there's basically three ways to grow a business. You either get more customers, you get larger orders, or you get more frequency in orders. In other words, you're increasing the usage of that product. And so I was like, okay, so I know that there's like three areas. I got to figure out what to do, one of these three areas. And so the first thing I said, please send me every purchase order for your division for the last 30 days. And I was like, oh, so I didn't know if it was going to tell me anything or not, but I thought this is a good place to start. And so I got them and I started going through all of them. And so it's just I didn't know if there's going to be anything there. I said, but this is just a good way to start looking. And so I started going through it, click, click, click. And and then all of a sudden I said, oh my gosh. And so I hit one. I said, oh, that's a big order. That's one of the larger orders. And I looked at it and I said, okay, that's interesting. Then I go through a bunch more. And then there was one more in there that was, there was like, I don't remember how many orders there were in there, but there were these two orders that were interesting and they were in hospitals. And so like either one was really interesting. The other one wasn't as much interesting, but I said, hospitals, wow, these are the biggest orders. I mean, it was so simple. the hospitals are the biggest orders of, oh yeah, and you have a background in healthcare. But so I was like, okay, so all I have to do, I just need to make sure all the sales reps, they weren't calling on hospitals. And so I ended up, and what I did is I went and built a database of all the hospitals in the reps territories, and I sent them, emailed to the people, and boom, fast forward a year, the division grew by 83%. The single largest client was a part of my database that I'd mailed out. They had called on them, and it was the single largest client for the year was one of those hospitals is in the group. And that was it. They were just that was the solution. And that's what I did for them. I mean, it's that simple.
Yeah, but you
Looking
have to have
back on
that
it.
eye. You have to
Right.
have that eye that's
Yeah.
like, whoa, wait a minute, like a net. Like it's not making
Right.
it through your filter.
Yeah, and I understood that. Yeah, and I understood how important channels were, and so that's what I just knew instantly. And the big part of my success has been thinking about channels, and I have a lot of teaching on this. I talk about you want to, and I already was teaching this for food companies, and so it just naturally happened as well for their company. But one of the things I share with people is don't chase customers, think about channels. And so groups of customers. So for instance, like think about supermarkets or think about home, do-it-yourself home, or think of hardware stores, or think of what was the other thing was think of theaters, or think of theme parks, or think of zoos. And so I've
Right.
actually gone out across the country and worked with zoos and amusement parks. And so don't think about just going to one, like, oh, I'm going to go to Disney. Think about all the amusement parks in the country and then
Okay.
have them. And if you figure out how to sell one of them, then all of them are very likely going to be interested in your offer if it's pertinent to that particular person. And so that's what we did is we're like, oh, okay, we just looked at that channel. Let's explode this channel, and that's what we did, and that's how the growth happened.
So do you help people devise or develop a plan
Yes,
into that, introduction of this is what we have to offer? Like you put
yes,
together, oh, that's an
yes.
integral part of that. That's awesome. It's not
Yeah,
just how to, you're actually there for that.
and so what I do, what I think about, because I pay so much attention to my customers and to over the years to attempting to understand my clients. Not, oh, I mean, not my food clients, but understand the purchasing buyers. And I basically do their work for them. And so that's how I've been so successful. And so I bring that to my clients. And so that we think about how can we be more appetizing or more pleasing or provide more value. And so a lot of the times people say, Tim, that's not my job to do that. That's a buyer's job. Why do you do so much work? Why do you do their job for them? And I'm like, because I want to sell. That's why. I want to grow. I want to do more. And so that's why I do the job for them. And that's what a lot of people accuse, I've been accused of is doing the buyer's job. Like that's their job. But if you make it easy for them, my goal is for them to be just say approve. Yes, to think about it, not to have any difficulty. Like this is so obvious. So much has been done. Of course, I'm going to go forward, and work, work on this project. So that's what I did. Like early on, there's an oil painting. My trade. I have we actually there's two oil paintings in the house, but early on, I did a project with, and this is like 25 years ago. I did a project, Publix, actually. You might even, if you may even, it'll just be fun to see if you even, how long have you been living in Florida?
About 20 years.
Okay, you may not know about this. So maybe 20, you tell me if you did. So
Okay.
about 25 years ago, there were these doctors in New Orleans, and they invented a diet called Sugar Busters diet.
No,
Yeah, so the
I
four
don't know
doctors,
anything.
yeah, so they
Maybe
invented
like
a
an inkling, but I don't
They
know.
wrote a book, and so this is around 2000, year two. I don't remember the year,
Yeah.
but there's a book called The Sugar Busters Diet. It's very popular all over America,
Okay.
specifically in the South. So,
Okay.
so anyway, these four doctors, and they had an ice cream product, and they're out of New Orleans, and they created an ice cream in New Orleans, and it's called Sugar Busters Ice Cream.
Ooh.
And so the goal was to sell it to Publix. And so the way I ended up selling, I sold it. I sold it to, multiple people, but at the time I helped them sell it to Publix. And the way we did it, we worked with a buyer, but we also worked with the management of the company. And we brought like every employee of the company, we brought like a hundred half gallons for the lunchroom so that everyone in the company could taste how good this product was and how awesome it was. And so a lot of people go like, why are you doing all that work, Tim? Why are you doing all this? It's just like too much, like over the top. But that's how we ended up selling truckloads and truckloads of Sugar Busters ice cream was by doing that and taking those actions. And so,
Sugar Bust.
that's
So
just an example.
what is unique about Sugar Busters ice cream, Tim?
Well, it was sugar free, of course. It was a great
Oh,
tasting
okay.
sugar free, and you couldn't, it tasted like real ice cream. It wasn't like a chemical taste. It was just unbelievable.
That's awesome. Well, now I got to find out about Sugar Busters
Yeah,
and then as we were talking, I looked to see if Dyson is in Costco, and it is.
yeah, yeah.
So they got looks like they got vacuums, hair dryers, and hairstyling tools and air treatments. So they're in there.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah. He's an incredible inventor. They do some incredible stuff.
Awesome.
Well, thank you for all the letting me share us have this. I was doing a lot of talking.
This is great. Oh, there is one other thing I want to talk about, and it is you still have this website up, don't you? It's your photographs.
Oh yeah, islandsunrises.com.
Island
So I'm a fairly prolific seascape photographer, and for years I
10
would take
years.
yeah for a decade.
Yep.
For a decade, I would every morning I would take a picture of the sunrise over the ocean. So I did that for a decade, and so that is a story. I mean, the stories I could tell you from that. I'll
Yeah.
just tell you one. I'll just tell you one, just so the so I, it's unimaginable, unimaginable. It's an entire world I could share with you. I could share with you friends of mine that are
Perfect.
world surfers that are number one in the world surfers that became friends of mine. I can tell
Perfect.
you, like Jamie O'Brien is the only person he's won three. He won three world titles for like pipeline and incredible. But I can tell you all these incredible stories, but I just want to tell you one story in particular.
And I
So
want
I'm on the,
pictures, or it didn't happen.
yeah, I have pictures. I have pictures. I
Yay.
can show them all to you. Do you want me to show you some pictures? You want to see any of the pictures?
Yes, absolutely. You know I do. And so
Have I ever shown these to you?
I don't know. I don't know. I'll know when I see them because how could I?
Okay.
But
Okay.
so if you did that for 10 years, every morning you got up at sunrise and you went
Yes.
out and photographed on in Florida, right? On the
Yes.
in the waves and that kind of thing,
Yes.
the water.
Yep.
You decided you were going to do it for and you just decided you were going to do it. Oh, wait. We got to go back a little further. There was what inspired you to do it? And then what inspired you to keep doing it?
Yeah.
Yes, let's go there.
Okay.
And then is that math, if it's 10 years times 365, is that 36,050 days?
Let's see. 365, so it's 3,600 days.
3,600 days? Okay.
Yes.
Boy, does it seem
There
like
is a
yeah,
video.
3,600. Okay.
There is a video, and so a group came out and did
Okay.
Impact Media came out and did a video. Are you
500,000
seeing the
sunrises.
screen? Are you seeing the screen right now?
I am seeing the screen. Thank you.
Some years I would take 150,000 photos of the ocean.
Wow. And then someone took that picture.
Yeah, yeah, this is me taking my picture. I'm in the waves taking, yeah, I'm wet.
You were
I'm in the
all over.
ocean.
Okay, but so I didn't know if someone was taking a picture, like every single one of those days, someone went out with you and took a picture of you.
No, 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 no.
I'm
I
playing
know.
with
That
you,
was
Tim.
just
I'm
this was
playing.
impact. Yeah, this is when they were taking a picture. They said, "Tim, we want to see what you do. Can we come out and follow you?"
Perfect.
And
Okay.
so, yeah, so this was there's a you can go see this video, and it's an interview of me about what you and I are talking about right now. Um,
Okay.
but this just goes through. I'm just saying, you were talking about the number, and this is 500,000 sunrises. So I have more than 500,000 photos of sunrise
Wow.
over the
And
ocean.
where would we go for that? Like, what
You
is
just do 500,000 sunrises, Tim Forrest, and
okay,
you'll get the video.
500,000. All right. And there's a video of you, like you being interviewed. Oh my God. I have not seen that. I've not seen
Yeah,
that.
and so I'm being interviewed there, and so yeah,
Aw.
that's on there.
This
So
is
this
like
bird,
Facebook.
yeah, this is Island Sunrises takes you to the Facebook page
Okay.
.com. That's all this is Facebook.
Okay.
And so this bird landed about 300 yards down the beach from me and came down and said, "I'm gonna walk right in front of Tim." So I took his picture. That's just there's
Yeah.
another guy. This is story after story after story. So
Is that a
so
blue
I
hole?
was is what?
A blue hole? I think they call them that.
This is a barracuda in the
Oh
background.
my
Just
gosh.
so this is this the movie Thunderball the
Thunderdome?
Thunderdome. No, this is I don't know. It's a Sean Connery type. What is that? There's a series of movies, James Bond movies, and there's one called either Thunderball or I think it's Thunderball.
Okay. I'm
This
Googling.
is the Thunderball dome in this is this is where the movie was filmed, and this is the Thunderball Grotto is what they call it.
Grotto. Okay. Okay.
And
Yes.
so but the story of this is a daughter. Her parents were building a resort in the Caribbean, and I was doing these island sunrises, and she convinced her parents to hire me to go for a week to their resort and do my island sunrise pictures from their resort. I had a
Oh,
boat, I had a boat at my disposal. That was where, oh, get this. Oh, this is even, oh my God, this is so funny. So while I was there, swims. While I was there, okay, there were sand sharks all around in the Caribbean and around the island. And so, Justin Bieber was in shorts on the island
uh-huh.
where I was. And so I ended up getting these pictures of him and his buddy, and they were down here swimming. And so I put these on Facebook. And my cousin goes, "What the heck are you doing, Tim? Take those down off Facebook. You can sell these in Hollywood as a paparazzi and make all this money." And I'm like, "What are you talking about?" He goes, "Yeah, those have value." I'm like, "I'm just posted these on Facebook. What do you mean they have value?"
Right.
And so I ended up, I got these pictures, and so I put them in a file. I got low res versions and put them in a file and sent them. And so he's with these are sand sharks down here.
Oh, okay.
And so here he is, he's playing with these sand sharks. They don't do anything to him. And so, I had these pictures. And so, my cousin convinced me, he's a professional photographer, retired now. He says,
Uh-huh.
"Tim, you can sell these." So I went to three companies. I went to National Enquirer, and then I went to another company, and then I went to TMZ as well. TMZ, the other one said, "Ah, we'll pay, maybe we'll pay you." TMZ said, "We'll FedEx you a check overnight for the pictures." And I ended up, I sold them to TMZ. And so that's the
Wow.
story of that. And so they did it. It was actually on television. One of my buddies, like Tim, called me. He says, "Tim, I was watching TMZ tonight, and your pictures were on
Oh,
TMZ." So, but
wow.
yeah, they got me. That was just we were talking about island sunrises,
Right,
and
right. That's so funny. Wow.
but that came from that. So anyway, the reason I have this picture, are you on the picture of the girl swimming in the grotto, the Thunderball grotto?
On Google or
Uh,
whatever.
am I sharing? I'm not sharing that right now. Okay, I'm not sharing it. So anyway, the reason I was here in the Caribbean was the family hired me to come do the island sunrises.
Wow.
He's a number one surfer. He's a Grom, one of the top surfers, and he's a commercial. And this was, they just would practice right in front of me each morning, a couple of mornings a week, and at sunrise, and I would take their pictures. And this is just he's a pro surfer now. And so he was one of the top groms in the world, and his family loved this picture in
Yeah,
particular.
that is a cool. He looks like he's not of this world. Like,
Yeah, exactly. But
wow.
these are the type of pictures I would take. So I want the foam of the wave and the sunrise. This
Absolutely.
is that's my signature style. This is a funny story. Okay, so I was on the beach and this father says, "Hey Tim, do you think you could take a picture of me and my daughter?" I was like, "Yeah, I'm happy to." And he loved this picture. He said, "Tim, I paid," and he paid me nothing. I just did this for fun. He says, "Tim, I paid a professional photographer so much money to try to get a picture like this. This is exactly what I wanted. Thank you so much."
Mm.
And so 10 years later, and he's a buddy of mine, he works for Florida Fish and Wildlife, and he lives very close to me. And he's like, he ran into me another time at the beach. He goes, "Tim, we got to do another picture." And I see him occasionally at the grocery store. I don't see him a lot, but he's like, "Tim, we got to get another picture." I'm like, "Okay." So he said, and I said, "Let's reenact the picture with your daughter." So
Yes.
here he is with his 10-year-old daughter.
Yay! Oh,
This is the same kid.
oh, wow. That's fantastic. Wow. I'm so
Is
excited.
is
Yes.
that not amazing? That's not. And so we did everything we could to try to duplicate it. Even the like what the color she's wearing.
Oh, yes.
You see that?
Oh, that's
And
adorable.
he said he wanted to do this. So we did it. It was just
Absolutely.
I just thought that's an incredible. That alone is an incredible story right there.
It really is.
There's just some surfers I caught.
Yep. Wow. Look at that. So do you still take pictures or is this, oh wow, I really like that one. Where's that one?
I
Not that one.
I do take pictures.
Go
I'll
back
show
one
you
more. Oh,
one of my well, this is one of my I love my I don't know if you can see it, but
I can see it. Yeah.
it's one of my housings, and I just have so much fun.
Wow. That's a camera.
I do still take pictures, but I definitely don't. It after a decade, I mean, it became like it's like, oh, I
Like,
have to do this.
where'd it
It's
go?
like a
Oh,
job.
that's pretty too. Yeah. Oh, I like you get the 360. That's cool. Wow. Yeah, they're beautiful.
Thank you. Yeah, you're not going to see not many people will
Oh,
go
that's
into the
nice.
not many people will go into the ocean with their equipment and do this.
Right.
And I went through a lot of cameras, even though I have the housing.
Sure.
I'm in the water on all of these, almost
Wow.
all of them.
Right, right, right. Yeah.
Yeah,
On,
and this like
450,000 of them, you're in the water.
yeah, right, exactly. But I would get crazy. I get crazy shots like that. Like no, there's no other picture like that I've seen.
Right. Right. This is great. Wow. Oh, that's beautiful. They're all beautiful. This is
Yeah,
amazing. My
and
little guy wants to start taking pictures. He's like, he wants the lens. That's they're all beautiful for different reasons.
thank you. Yeah, exactly. They're all so different. That's the other
Yeah.
thing.
I
It's
like
like
that.
I was wondering when I first started, like, oh, will I run out of subject matter? Will I be able to take a picture like 3 months from now and it'd be
Of
interesting
interest.
and different?
Yeah. And you
And so
absolutely did.
this is 10 years of sunrises. Oh, this is one that's crazy. This is one of my most popular ones that I've sold. I've sold, and there's a horse's head in this wave right here.
You are right. Oh my gosh. Wow. Wow. Yeah. Yeah. That's amazing.
Yeah, just
How did you see the horse's head? Did you see it? Did someone else point
oh
it
no,
out?
no, someone pointed out to me. I was like, okay,
Yeah,
I
that
never would have seen it. I never saw that until they said that. It's like, oh my God.
so
And
you
people points, yeah,
it's okay. You people point what?
there's me in the water.
So you had gone out and decided to take, a picture at the sunrise, but there was so you were inspired to do that or compelled to do that, but then there was
Oh, I'll tell you, I'll share with you what happened. It's so
yes.
crazy. Real simple story, real simple. So a buddy, okay, so a friend of mine, a good friend of mine that we'd have beach bonfires every Friday night.
That sounds like
So
fun.
yeah, yeah. And so we on a normal basis would have beach bonfires every Friday night. And so there was this kid there that was his next door neighbor and worked in his business, and his name Charles. And so he was a kid, like 14, 15, I don't know, whatever age he was. And so he would come, often he would come to the bonfires. That's where I saw him. But I thought of him as a kid. He's like, he may have been a little bit older than my kids, but I didn't think of him as at all as an adult. He's a kid. And so then one of the bonfires, he goes, well, I'm getting ready to go. I enlisted and I'm going to, I think he was going to Afghanistan. I have to go back and check, but it was 2000. This was in 2011, 2012. So I don't know. He was going over, he joined the Marines. And so I'm like, what are you talking about? You're a kid. So, so he goes off, he enlists, he goes off, he ends up going in the Marines. And he comes back following Christmas. Oh, and remember the story? Oh my gosh, about the revolutionary optimist? Well, the same thing happened with Charles. So Charles is telling me this story about one Friday. So we're on the beach and we're at a bonfire after, like a year, 6 months after he's enlisted. They allow him to come home for Christmas. And so we're at the bonfire, and then he proceeds to tell me about he was in a safe. He was in their fort in Iraq or Afghanistan, wherever he was. He's in his fort, and then his buddies, and this had just happened a couple of weeks ago, and then his buddies were on a Friday night, some very similar to what we were doing there. They were talking in a group like 20 yards away, and then he was talking to like three or four of his buddies right here. So there's two circles of buddies that were talking at night, in the evening. And then at his feet, an IUD, a bomb, like a hand grenade, landed at his feet. Same time, the hand grenade landed at his buddy's feet, like 20 yards away. That one exploded. All of them died. The one that landed at his feet did not go off. Nothing happened to him. And when he said that, the emotion, and I just felt it. And the hair on the back of my neck just stood up. And I thought, oh my gosh, the problems, the things that I'm dealing with. I just couldn't believe it. And here he is. He's over there fighting and he's almost killed in that situation. I was just so amazed. So he goes back, Christmas, we go Christmas. He goes back to the Marines, leaves. And so I think it was January 12th. He sends me a note. So he's back over there. And he called me Mr. Tim. And I have the note. I can share that with you. But he says, Mr. Tim, those pictures that you take, because he grew up on the island that I'm talking about. He says, Tim, those pictures you take keep me going. Thank you very much. And that was it. I didn't do island sunrises then. I did not do the sunrises, or I didn't. I just did pictures when I took my triplets to the beach. I would just post pictures of us at the beach, um, being on the ocean. And so I said, you know what? With what he's doing and how with what he's doing and the sacrifice he's doing, the least I can do is I can get up every morning and take a picture of the sunrise over the ocean. And for 1 year, I'm going to take a sunrise every morning and post it. Also, I felt so odd. I didn't tell him I was doing this, but I said, I'm going to post a picture for 1 year and I'm going to post it for him. And then something else happened as well that week, but that was the push that got me to start doing this. So I said to begin tomorrow morning, I'm going to get up and I'm going to post a picture so Charles can see it. When he can get to Facebook, he can see the picture and then we can go, then he'll be able to see it. And so I was really embarrassed at the time about literally, I didn't want to tell anyone. I didn't tell anyone, but that's what I did. And that's what I started. And then, and then it just became island sunrises. So many things happened, and so I met people, and then people wanted to buy pictures, and I didn't make a lot of money from it. Motorola ended up buying one of these waves for a regional ad for the state of Florida, and so I just started doing it, and then I couldn't stop. Once you start doing something as a habit, I did it for a year. I was not going to stop after 2 years. Didn't stop after 3 years. I didn't stop after 4 years. And then Charles ended up, he did very well. He did his tour. He did his, I think, yes, his 3 years. I'm not sure how long he did it, but I'm assuming 3 years. And then as soon as his um, was over, he came home. Then I can tell you all kinds of stories. But then uh, his grandfather, his grandfather told me, like, I didn't know any of this at the time, but his grandfather was like, Tim, what you did was so incredible. It's such a I consider Island Sunrise as a mission, specifically a mission for my grandson because of the impact it had on him, and they think this was they think these pictures were a key to him coming back safe, and so it's just that's the story of how Island Sunrises got started.
Is it, thank you for sharing that,
You're welcome.
Tim. And you know what it reminds me of? Well, there's so many thoughts going through my mind right now. But it reminds me of, is it Viktor Frankl, Man's Search for Meaning,
Hmm.
when the people were in the concentration camps?
Yes.
And it was those who had a purpose, who could see past where they were, who had, say, hope, that allowed for them to, those, that was the difference between those who survived and those who didn't, correct? From what I
Yes.
remember.
Yes.
And I'm actually
Yep.
getting ready to, I haven't read the book, all of it, some of it I have. But I think that's why he ended up writing the book. Um,
Yes.
and I feel like in the same way that he, in the fellowship that he had with the people in the concentration camp and the observations that he had that led to him, being that for people in there, is the same thread that you offered for this gentleman, as well, in terms
Right.
of, hope and connection and meaning and that kind of thing. Um, I guess not allowing him to identify himself with solely that, but also a thread back to home.
Yep. Yes. Yep.
Beautiful thread back to home.
Yes.
Um, wow, that is all of it is beautiful. So much. And I'm gonna go ahead and just kind of say this. Thank you for being you, Tim. Thank you for being you. And in some ways, you kind of remind me of like when I'm following your, yeah, right, your beginnings to here and now. It's kind of like Forrest Gump. And what I mean by that is he was like in these pivotal moments in time there for very big events, big bangs in some way, to create, right, new universes of pockets of good and wholesome and that kind of thing, and that you've been there to witness that and to, create that and foster that and dedicate yourself to a lot of beautiful things and continue to do so.
Yeah.
So thank you, for that. And it is inspirational in many ways for myself. I'm like, you just never know where you're going to inspire somebody.
Yeah.
You
Right.
never know what big change you're going to have in someone's life. You just went out and started taking pictures one day.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
I
then,
just began with my cell phone. I was just using my cell phone at the time. I
whoa.
didn't have a camera. I did not have a camera.
Can I ask you, was it a Motorola phone?
No, it was a BlackBerry when I started,
Okay, because I was like, they
2011.
might like want to know that,
No,
but
yeah, it was
BlackBerry might want to know too. Are they
yeah,
trying
it was a
to?
BlackBerry at the time. I remember it was a it was an unusual BlackBerry. It was one of their later models, but it was a BlackBerry.
Okay,
And that's when I
perfect.
started. Yep. It wasn't very happy. It very quickly didn't enjoy going into the ocean with me. And I tore it up and then it's not good. I
All
was like, oh,
right.
I need to do something different.
Well, I'm glad. I'm glad that you did the journeys. I mean, so we've talked about schools, we've talked about photography, we've talked about businesses and you're helping develop. You talked about your book. We've talked about great men in other countries that you've become friends with, and we've talked a lot about a lot of things. Um, we did kind of dip our toe into your trip in the beginning of the different places that you went. And was there anything in particular that you would like to share?
No, no, I one of the things I want to share is that you're so right about what I mean. The only thing I think of, I think maybe this could be the last thing, but it's how important people are in my life, and so how important the things that I've accomplished and done have been because of friends, contacts, people I've worked with. And so, for instance, I didn't know at the time, but I ended up in junior. Became involved with junior achievement, and so I ended up working just a summer job with the CEO of Fortune 300 company in downtown Atlanta. So Fortune 300. Here I am. I had no idea. I'm working with a Fortune 300 CEO, and I was his personal assistant,
You
and I worked with
strategically
him.
set that up though, didn't you? That wasn't an
I did it
accident.
differently. I mean, I strategically set up the junior achievement. I strategically set up wanting to be a part of that. I wanted to be a part of I did not know that I was going to be working for the CEO. Um, I did, I did set up, I mean, I said, I want to be involved in business. And so I had no contacts I didn't think I had any contacts through my dad. So I was like, I need to go figure out how to make contacts in business. So I said, junior achievement. So I joined junior achievement. I really worked hard. I became president, went to the national, council for junior achievement. And then I wanted to do like, we had a insurance company, which is who he was CEO of, an insurance company that was our sponsor. And so I went down that summer and wanted to apply with the executives, the executive team that sponsored us. I wanted to assist them. I had no idea, though, that I was going to be the CEO's assistant. And so I did. I wanted to do that to learn about business and to be close to business. And so here I am, assisting a Fortune 300 CEO and learning all about the business of that size and that. And so fast forward, of course, my company has worked with a third of the Fortune 50. I had that kind of experience when I was a teenager. I mean, it only opened up so much ideas and pathways to the energy and the requirements. It just makes sense. So I just wanted to share that for some reason. And so you brought that up. And so I wanted to hit on that again about how important others are. So many of the things that we talked about today, I've been open to opportunities, but opportunities through other people and how important they are, and the energy and what they brought into my life. And that I just, I want to be open to that. And I have been.
Yeah, I applaud you for that because um some might, I have sometimes been intimidated by the possible, like, oh gosh, can I really, do this? Can I, I don't know anything. Like this person,
Yeah. Yeah.
I
I learned early on. So Wally Amos, he just passed away literally a few weeks ago. So he was a friend of mine. So Wally Amos founded Famous Amos Cookies. You ever heard of Famous Amos Cookies?
I definitely have. Yep,
Okay.
I can picture him
So
right now, the
Okay,
bag.
so he's in the Smithsonian for creating the first standalone cookie store. So that didn't exist before Wally Amos. He created the first. Helen Reddy donated 20, not donated, but helped finance the first store he opened in Hollywood. He was a talent agent in Hollywood. So anyway, so
And
Wally,
Helen Reddy was a singer, wasn't she?
yes, he was a very successful singer, like 70s or something.
Yep,
So he
very good
also
one.
he is considered Wally would manage Simon and Garfunkel. He's considered the person that found them. So he did that. He did a lot of things. And he managed Gladys Knight, I think. Anyway, he had a career in the entertainment industry. So anyway, what I wanted to share with you the story. So I met Wally when I was in school, and he came and spoke at my university when I was in school. And so I went up afterwards and just said, "Hello, Mr. Amos. I enjoyed our talk. Thank you very much." That was the end. That was the meeting. And so I was, what was I doing? So I so he came out with a book when he came out with a book, and I had an idea. Oh, I can make a food product with him. And so I reached out. He was living in Hawaii, and so I reached out to him, and I told him in the call, he's like, I want to work with you, Wally. I want to do this. He goes, great, Tim. He goes, I look forward to it. It's going to be awesome. And he told me in the call, he goes, Tim, where were you? Why weren't you? I said, I've been wanting to work with you for years, Wally. And he said, you have? I've been needing your help for years, Tim. Why didn't you call me then? I need your
Oh,
help now, and I needed it 5 years ago. I can't, you do not know how much I needed your help. And so I'm like,
wow.
oh, well, so I'm saying my reluctance, my fear,
Your
because
perception.
yeah, because he's like a superstar. How could I help him? And anyway, I just thought that was interesting.
Wow. Well, okay. So I'm glad that you shared that because for myself personally, if I'm getting ready to go do something or talk to somebody and I'm like, oh, what could my perception of myself, I, I can't speak for everybody, but
Right,
what I've seen is a lot of people perceive themselves as less than needed I
right,
think for myself, it would be I maybe see my perceived flaws,
right,
and versus my perceived, positive attributes and skills and talent and things that I could offer to somebody. And so, what I'm hearing you say and what I'm being inspired by is that if that happens again, I'm going to be like, wait, at least, it, give myself the opportunity to
exactly.
present myself. And if I take it away from myself, shame on me. But if they take it away from me, then okay, I get it. Like I don't want to say take it away, but at least give myself the opportunity to go forward. So
Yeah.
good for you for doing that. Was there
Yeah.
anything in particular that you ate that day that made you so like, did you eat like your Wheaties or something? You're like, today's the day
I
I'm
don't
reaching
know.
out to A.
I don't
It
remember
must have been determination, right? I'm just
well, it
playing.
was the book. Yeah, no, yeah, it was just the book. I thought the book was the book. It was just the right timing. It was just perfect timing. It was
So
a
you were
perfect time.
there.
Yeah,
That is
yeah,
awesome.
yeah.
That is awesome. So
It was a
fantastic.
book. He had come out with a book, and then it just inspired me to reach out to him.
Perfect. That is awesome. Well, I think that this is this
Thank
I
you.
mean, I
Thank you,
know this
Catherine.
no, thank you. This has been so much fun and I'm glad that we got this and we may end up doing, more videos, but I think I'm probably gonna make because we've talked about three or four very distinct things. So it might
Yep.
end up being three or four different videos or just one and let it roll. I don't know how I'm gonna do it. It might just end up being one and let it roll. I'm not sure, and then maybe I'll figure it out. But either way, thank you, Tim. This is
Oh, you're
exciting.
welcome, Catherine. Thank
Yes,
you very much. Have a great day, and I appreciate you inviting me.
yes, of course. Take care.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.